that we could not have gotten accomplished what we did this session without the leadership and the governing of Governor Terry Branstad. We got education reform passed, we got Medicaid overhaul taken care of, we got property taxes finally taken care of. I mean, we could not have done this without our great Governor Terry Branstad. Please, folks, help me welcome Governor Terry Branstad.
Representative Matt Winchell, thank you very much. You know, it's quite a deal. I remember being here in 2011 when we were dealing with the flooding on the Missouri River, and then last year we had a drought. Now we're back into the flood cycle, and we just seem to kind of go from one to the other. But anyway, I'm glad to be back today, and I'm proud to say that we now have the state in one of the best financial positions we've ever been in, of any state. We have stopped all these bad budgeting practices. 80% of our growth comes from existing Iowa business. So we've got to continue to work to make sure that we are successful in making Iowa more attractive for existing business to grow. We've had significant success here in the last 2 years in our economic development efforts. It's now approaching $7 billion in capital investments. But we also continue to have a problem with our taxes, especially on our Main Street business and our commercial industrial buildings, among the highest in the country. I think we're the third highest. Actually, Illinois is number 1, and I think Minnesota is number 2. So we got a couple neighboring states in the north and east that are worse. But the good news is our compromise tax relief bill will reduce that commercial property taxes by at least 10%, and for the smaller businesses, it'll be more than that over the next 2 or 3 or 4 years. So this combination of all of these actions should mean a significant reduction in property taxes for all classes of property and no shift between classes of property. So we're excited about that. Had we not taken action, we would have, because of the way our property taxes are figured and residential is tied to agriculture, we would have seen significant increases in residential property taxes over the next 10 years that we're going to be able to avoid. I also believe that no discussion of economic development is complete without talking about education, because we've got to prepare our young people for the jobs of the future. When I was governor before, we used to be best in the nation in educational achievement back in '92. But we slipped to 25th among the states, not because we've just kind of been stagnant and other states have gone past us. They've passed stricter standards, they've had more accountability, and we have some catching up to do. But I think the bill that we passed this year is going to put us on the path. And we think the Medicaid program of the 60s is outdated now, and hopefully Iowa can be a leader in finding a better way where people take some ownership of their own health, but we partner with them to be able to provide health care coverage, but do it in a way that's going to be sustainable. It's part of what our goal is, to become the healthiest state in the nation. And we have made progress. We moved from 19th to 9th. Of course, it's going to be tougher to go from 9th to 1st, but we're at least moving in a positive direction. We were, I think, very successful in this session. We had an ambitious agenda, but it was a very focused agenda. Property tax relief, education reform, modernize our healthcare system, and it's pretty good to be able to say the results are all 3 of our top priorities were approved. They were all approved with a compromise. Remember, we have a Republican House, a Democratic Senate, so the only way you get anything done is you have to have some votes from each party. And we were able to do that. That's a big contrast to Washington, D.C. They spend all their time pointing fingers and fighting with each other.
Recently, the Iowa Corn and Soybeans Association had expressed concern about the Corps and other agencies' proposed plans to dump sediment in the Missouri River, which seems inconsistent with
the nutrient reduction strategy.
Yes.
I have already talked with Governor Heineman about this. I've also talked with Governor Nixon from Missouri. You may know that Governor Nixon was Attorney General before he was governor, and they've been in a running battle with the Corps of Engineers on this issue over some time. And we're aware that the Corps has been doing this. We think it makes no sense. I mean, then the next thing they do is blame the farmers for the sediment, for the nutrient problem down in the Gulf.
And it came up this year about the fuel tax, which is a user fee for those who drive more, they pay more to help improve the roads. That was defeated. What do you see as a viable
I never got out of committee, you know,
Right.
and I think, and Matt may want to address this too, but I think one of the big problems is, we all know what the price of gasoline is, and this spring, we saw a real spike in the price of gasoline. Well, the oil companies say it's due to refineries being down or being repaired or whatever, but I can tell you, I went to Chicago, price of gas is almost $5 a gallon here, it hit nearly 4 in Iowa. And I think the problem is, the public is against raising the gas tax by about 2 to 1. So it was very difficult to get the votes in either party or either house to do that.
They recognize those easements, but yet they refuse to allow repair of, and they cause that problem. I think they need to, you know, I think many state of Iowa needs to get involved in this themselves.
Jake Kitzner is the guy standing in the back here, he's on my staff. And Jake has been, I want to have you follow up with Jake after the meeting and look into this, and we'll see what we can do and see if there's something the state of Iowa can do to go to bat for the landowners here with regard to the issue that you brought up with the Fish and Wildlife Service.
Governor, I don't have a question. I just want to say it's very reassuring to have you over here in western Iowa, especially Harrison County. I know a lot of my constituents always talk to me at forums about reminding people over in Des Moines that Iowa extends beyond I-35, so thank you for coming over here. Governor. We appreciate your presence and your answers today.
Well, you know, the Lieutenant Governor and I both come from rural counties, and we made a commitment when we ran for this that we would go to every county every year. So you're going to continue to see us.